Today, class, we'll talk about protein. So proteins are made up of amino acids. So the monomer of proteins are amino acids. Now, proteins are very important in all living or life forms. So your cell has proteins. Remember, the cell membrane has an embedded protein. The enzymes in the laboratory, the renin is an enzyme that's a catalyst. The proteins. Okay, so methionine has a side chain of carbon, carbon, and a sulfur. Okay, so this makes methionine unique. And remember, methionine is the start codon to create or synthesize protein. What do all amino acids have in common? They have the amine group and carboxyl group. Now, what differs between them? That's your R group or the side chain. Okay, let's take a look at these amino acids. Again, how to determine where's the carboxyl group, the amine group, and the R group. So if you look at the structure of leucine, that's one of amino acid, it has the COOH. Again, this is the carboxyl group. Then we have the amine group. Amine group has the nitrogen. So if you found or find nitrogen, that's automatic amine. Now, how about the R group? The R group is connected to the carbon and it will depend on what type of amino acid does the R group is. Okay. Now, how do we create a long chain of amino acid? Again, the process is dehydration reaction. Remember, to create a polymer, you have to undergo dehydration reaction or dehydration synthesis. Now, the peptide bond will be created at the part of the carboxyl group of the amino acid, one amino acid, and it will be joined at the part of the amine group of the second amino acid. The bond between the two amino acid is called peptide bond. So this is the peptide bond. Okay? Now, each protein has a unique sequence of amino acids. Remember, I've discussed this structure of amino acids. The structure of the proteins. Remember, it is modified in rough endoplasmic reticulum. The primary structure, the secondary structure, the tertiary structure, and the quaternary structure. So the primary structure of a protein is a unique sequence of long amino acids. 154 amino acids. So therefore, this whole sequence will be your primary structure. That is just a long chain of amino acids. So primary structure has the presence of peptide bond only. Next. Now, for the secondary structure of protein, there is a hydrogen bonding. So the difference between the two configurations, the beta sheet is a folded protein, meanwhile alpha helix is in helical structure. So based on this structure in the beta pleated sheet, how many hydrogen is there? So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there is an 8 amino acids in the beta sheet. Now in the alpha helix, let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there is a 6 hydrogen bonds. Okay. So how will you know how many amino acid is there in the protein? So you can count it by its R group or the side chain. There is a 17. Again, how many amino acid are there in the beta sheet? That's 17. How many hydrogen bonds are in the alpha helix? That's 6. Then how many amino acids are in the alpha helix? So let's count. There is an 11 amino acids in the alpha helix. So this is just an illustration, but different types of protein will have different number of amino acids and peptide bond or hydrogen bond. Now, for it to become a tertiary structure or in its three-dimensional shape, now it will have a outer bond. There is a bonding between the group. Now we have the hydrogen bonds, the presence of oxygen. Oxygen will always bond with presence of hydrogen will bond always with one. Fluorine, oxygen, and nitrogen. Next is ionic bond. Ionic bond has an ion, so it is indicated with a positive and a negative. The presence of the positive and a negative, not charge. So those are the ionic bonds. Now in the hydrophilic interaction, the presence of the OH and a carbon and a hydrophobic, meaning afraid of water, no, creating this series of chain without oxygen or hydrogen. Oxygen, hydrogen, or the hydroxyl group. Now, for the disulfide bridge, there is a presence of sulfur. Okay? So, let's answer this one. For number 1, so there is a presence of sulfur. So, that is a disulfide bridges. Now, for number 2, you have hydrogen bonded to oxygen. So this is a what? That's a hydrogen bonding or hydrogen bonds. Next, we have the carbon dioxide, which has a negative charge. Ammonia, with the presence of NH3, that's an ammonia. And we have the positive charge. So we have the positive and negative, that's an ionic bond. And lastly, we have this number 4, no presence of hydroxyl group. So this is a hydrophobic interaction. And lastly, we're done. Now, that's a hydrophobic interaction. So myoglobin is a tertiary structure and it is commonly found in your muscles. This is why your muscle can contract because of this protein. Now, proteins have quaternary structure, which consists of more than one amino acid chain, which is a hemoglobin. The hemoglobin has a hem group. So this is the hem group. This is where oxygen will attach. So protein, if we discuss enzymes, enzymes are catalysts, and these are protein. So enzyme is used to speed up the chemical reaction. And proteins are folded in specific shapes. An enzyme acts as a biochemical or biological catalyst, which is again speed up chemical reactions. And enzyme is not permanently changed in the process. So this is the substrate. That's the reactant that we need. The enzyme is here and it has an active site. Active site, this is where the substrate will attach. Enzymes are specific for the substrate that they will catalyze. Now, they are also reusable. And do not forget, they always end with ase. Sucrase, lactase, maltase. And how do they work? So, from the higher activation energy, enzymes can lower the activation energy needed, which can fasten the or speed up the reaction. So, from here in this illustration, okay, the energy required for it to break down or to create the product, you need a high activation energy. Once there is an enzyme, the activation energy will be lowered. So substance or the reactant acts with an enzyme. It's like a lock and key analogy. So it will join at the active site. So there is an induced fit. What does it mean? The enzyme's active site will change depending on the shape of your substrate. Change in the configuration of an enzyme's active site, which is induced by the substrate. So from a different shape, the active site is very different because of the substrate. It can change the active site.